All right, so today we're diving into something I bet a lot of you are thinking about these days, writing a blog article
Mm.
that actually gets some, results.
Yeah.
The kind that doesn't just sit there, but actually gets people to your website.
Right.
We are going deep on this today, a deep dive into a guide that talks about both writing and optimizing blog articles.
Cool.
So even if you are a total newbie to this, stick with us because you'll pick up some really great tips and tricks.
What I find interesting is that so many businesses, I think, treat their blog like almost an afterthought.
Yeah.
But if you do it right, it can be such a gold mine for your business.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's like this amazing platform that you have right there to connect with potential customers, share your expertise,
Right.
build your brand. And so many businesses are just not tapping into its potential.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is they just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that our source really emphasizes is finding that sweet spot, a topic that not only excites you, the writer, but also resonates with your audience.
Yeah. And that's where understanding your ideal customer is so important. Like, what problems are they facing? What questions are they asking?
Right.
And if you can provide valuable solutions or, answers to their questions through your blog, that's where the magic really happens.
Yeah, you're basically having a conversation with them through your content.
Totally.
Addressing their needs, their pain points.
Yeah.
I can even remember one time I was trying to write an article about, well, it was actually a topic that was suggested to me, but I had zero interest in it. And let me tell you, it really showed in the final product.
Right.
It just felt forced. I'm sure the readers could sense that.
Yeah, totally. You can have all the SEO tricks in the world, but if the content isn't engaging,
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter. People can tell when you're phoning it in,
Right.
which is why I think our source's emphasis on structure is so important.
Yeah.
They lay out this 7-step process for writing a blog article.
Right.
And it's not just about organization.
Right.
It's really about keeping both you and the reader hooked.
Okay, so break it down for us. What are those 7 steps?
So it starts with research and outlining, which I think really helps you get your thoughts in order.
Yeah.
And make sure you're providing value. Then you've got the intro, where you need to grab the reader's attention right away.
Right.
Our source uses this fishing analogy. I love it. They talk about crafting the hook that reels people in.
Yeah.
I think they even had an example of a blog post that started with a surprising statistic.
Oh.
And it immediately made me want to learn more.
Yeah. It's like, why should I care what you have to say? You've got to give me a reason to stick around. So after that hook, we move on to the body of the article where we flesh out all those ideas. But it's not just about dumping a bunch of information on the page, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You really need to think about how to keep that reader engaged. So using things like subheadings, bullet points, images, anything that can break up the text and make it visually appealing.
Right.
We'll dive into that aspect a little bit later. But
Yeah.
For now, let's finish up our 7 steps.
Okay, so after the body, we have the conclusion where we wrap things up, leave the reader with a clear takeaway,
Yeah.
and then, of course, the editing and proofreading stage. I'll confess, this is the part that I sometimes want to rush through. But I know it's so crucial for catching errors and making sure that your writing is polished.
Yeah. No shame in admitting that we all have our writing quirks.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. Editing is essential.
Yes.
But here's where it gets interesting. And this is something that might surprise you.
Okay.
This 7-step structure isn't just beneficial for the reader. It actually helps with SEO too.
Hold on, SEO.
Yeah.
I thought we were just talking about good writing.
We are.
Okay.
But good writing and SEO, they're actually very much intertwined. You see, when you have that clear structure with headings, subheadings, concise paragraphs, it makes it easier for search engines to actually understand your content.
Okay.
They can crawl your article, figure out what it's about, and rank it accordingly.
So by organizing our thoughts and making our writing clear and easy to follow, we're actually helping search engines do their job.
Exactly. It's like giving them a neatly labeled map of your article.
Right.
And when they understand your content, they're more likely to show it to the right people,
Gotcha.
the ones who are searching for that information.
Okay. I'm starting to see the connection here. It's not about tricking search engines with a bunch of keywords.
Yeah.
It's about creating content that's genuinely valuable and well-structured so that both humans and search engines can appreciate it.
You got it. It's a win-win.
Okay. I'm feeling pretty good about the writing process now, thanks to that 7-step structure. But you mentioned SEO, and I know that we can't avoid that topic if we want our blog article to actually get seen. I have to admit, though, sometimes SEO feels a little bit overwhelming, like a giant puzzle that I'm not sure how to solve.
I hear you. SEO can definitely feel like this mysterious beast, but our source does a great job of kind of breaking it down and demystifying it.
Okay, good.
And don't worry, we're not going to bombard you with a million technical terms or anything.
Okay.
We'll focus on a couple of key tactics that you can implement right away.
Okay.
Let's start with keyword research. This is absolutely foundational.
Okay, keyword research. I've heard the term, but can you break it down for us like we're 5 years old?
Okay, so imagine you own a bakery.
Okay.
And you make the most amazing chocolate chip cookies in town. But if people search online for best cookies, and you haven't mentioned cookies anywhere on your website, guess what? They're probably not going to find you.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so keyword research is all about figuring out what words people are actually typing into that search bar.
Okay, so it's not just about any old words. It's about finding the words that are relevant to my business.
Exactly.
But also that people are actually searching for.
Yeah, you want to find that sweet spot between relevance and popularity.
So in the bakery example, instead of just focusing on chocolate chip cookies, which might be too specific, we also want to think about, okay, best cookies or bakery near me.
You got it.
Right.
And this is where tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs come in.
Okay.
They can help you analyze search volume, see what keywords your competitors are ranking for, and even discover some related keywords that you might not have thought of.
So it's like having a secret weapon that gives us insights into what people are actually looking for.
Exactly. And the best part is you can use this information to strategically weave those keywords into your blog post.
Okay.
Not in a forced or spammy way,
Right.
but naturally within the flow of your writing.
Okay. This is already making me rethink my entire approach to writing blog posts.
Yep.
I'm seeing how keyword research can really elevate our content and help it get discovered. But I'm also realizing that just sprinkling in keywords isn't enough.
No, you're absolutely right.
The writing itself still needs to be top-notch.
Keywords are just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
You could have the most perfectly optimized article in the world.
Yeah.
But if it's poorly written or boring, people are going to click away faster than you can say bounce rate.
Bounce rate, there's another SEO term for you.
I know, right?
This is what gets overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I'd much rather read an article that is engaging and informative, even if it's not, you know, perfectly SEO optimized, than something that feels like it was written by a robot just to rank high.
And here's the good news. Search engines are getting smarter all the time.
Okay.
They can recognize quality content.
Yeah.
Even if it's not stuffed with keywords.
Right.
So the best approach is to write for humans first and optimize for robots second.
I love that. Write for humans, optimize for robots. I'm putting that on a sticky note above my desk.
Do it.
But how do we find that balance?
Yeah.
How do we write content that is engaging and informative, but also ticks those SEO boxes?
Well, that's a topic worthy of its own deep dive.
Okay.
And that's exactly where we're headed next.
All right.
We're going to explore how to craft content that's both informative and captivating, using techniques like storytelling, strong verbs, and a conversational tone.
Ooh, I'm ready.
Get ready to unleash your inner wordsmith.
Okay, but before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a moment to really solidify what we've learned so far.
Okay, so we've talked about finding that golden topic that aligns with both your passion and your audience's needs.
Yes.
Then we explored the power of that 7-step structure.
Yeah.
Not just for organizing your thoughts, but for actually boosting your SEO.
Right.
And then we dipped our toes into the world of keyword research, realizing that it's not about cramming in as many keywords as possible, but about strategically using the right ones to help the right people find your content.
All great points, and we've just scratched the surface of what it takes to write a killer blog article. But stay tuned, because when we come back, we are going to dive even deeper into the art of writing engaging content that keeps people hooked.
Absolutely.
Welcome back. So before the break, we laid some of the groundwork, right? We talked about finding our topic, and we even dipped our toes into the world of SEO.
Yeah.
But now it's time to talk about the actual writing.
Yes.
How do we make our blog article something that people want to actually read, not just skim and forget?
It's a bit like cooking, actually.
Okay.
You know, you've got your great ingredients thanks to good keyword research, but now we need to turn those ingredients into a delicious dish.
Okay. I'm hungry for this analogy, so walk me through it.
So the first ingredient, I would say, is storytelling. Instead of just presenting facts, weave them into a narrative.
Right.
Maybe share some customer success stories.
Yeah.
Or even personal anecdotes that relate to the topic.
Okay, so if I'm writing about, let's say, time management tips for entrepreneurs, instead of just like listing techniques, I could share a story about a time I totally failed to manage my own time.
Exactly.
And what I learned from that.
Yeah, that makes it relatable.
Right.
You know, people connect with stories, they remember them.
Mm-hmm.
Our source even suggests thinking of your blog post like a mini-movie. It needs a beginning, a rising conflict, a climax where the solution arrives, and a resolution.
I like that suddenly I feel less like I'm writing a blog post and more like I'm directing a blockbuster film.
There you go.
What else makes for delicious content?
Well, strong verbs are your spices.
Okay.
Instead of she was walking quickly.
Yeah.
Try she scurried or she power walked.
Mm-hmm.
Each verb just paints a different picture. Add a little more energy.
Yeah, it's amazing how much of a difference even a single word can make.
Totally.
Our source mentioned that too, like using vivid language really helps readers experience the content, not just passively read it.
Right? And along with strong verbs, watch out for weak adverbs. A lot of times they're crutches for weak verbs. So she walked really quickly because she sprinted.
Right.
Cuts the fluff, increases the punch.
So stories, strong verbs. What about just like the overall voice of the writing?
Yeah.
How formal should we be?
I mean, it depends on your brand.
Yeah.
But in general, I would say a conversational tone works really well for blog posts.
Okay.
Like, imagine you just chatting with a friend over coffee, sharing these insights.
That makes me think of something our source said about how people are just bombarded with information all day long.
Right.
And if your writing feels stiff or overly formal,
Yeah.
it's easy to just tune out.
Totally.
But if it feels like a conversation, you're more likely to keep their attention.
Exactly. And that conversational tone doesn't mean being sloppy or anything.
Right.
You know, clear, concise sentences are still key.
Yeah.
Think of it like this. You wouldn't ramble on and on in a conversation, burying your point under unnecessary words, would you?
Definitely not, especially if I wanted the other person to actually listen.
Right.
So it's all about finding that balance, being engaging and approachable, but still getting our message across effectively.
And another tip our source gave that I really liked is using questions to involve the reader. Don't just tell them things, ask them things.
Ooh, give me an example.
Okay, so say you're writing about the benefits of meditation. Instead of just stating the benefits, you could ask, feeling stressed lately?
Yeah.
We're not alone.
Right.
And then you go on to explain how meditation can help.
That makes it so much more personal.
Yeah.
Like you're talking directly to me.
Right.
You're inviting the reader to actually participate in the conversation, not just passively consume information.
Exactly. And it can be as simple as just a rhetorical question at the start of a paragraph.
Right.
Or even ending with a question that encourages readers to share their thoughts in the comments.
Yeah. Okay. This is all making me really excited to actually start writing, but let's not forget about our robot friends.
Yes.
How do we optimize this really great, engaging content for search engines?
Right. Well, you know, the good news is a lot of what we've talked about already naturally helps with SEO.
Okay.
Search engines love content that's well-written, engaging, and keeps people on the page longer.
So by focusing on writing for humans, we're also indirectly optimizing for robots?
Exactly. But there are a few more specific things we can do.
Okay.
Remember those keywords we researched earlier?
Yeah.
Now is time to weave them into your content.
Okay.
Not just in the body of the post, but also in your headings, subheadings,
Right.
and even your image. Alt text.
Alt text, that's the description that pops up if an image doesn't load, right? I never thought of that as an SEO opportunity.
It is, and it's important for accessibility, too.
You're right.
You know, think of search engines needing those descriptions to understand what your images are about,
Okay.
just like someone who can't see the images would.
So use keywords thoughtfully, but what about links?
Yes.
Our source mentioned internal and external links being important for SEO.
Yes, they are.
Can you explain those?
So internal links connect your blog post to other relevant content on your website.
Okay.
Think of it as kind of creating a web of information, keeping readers engaged and exploring more of your site.
So if I'm writing about gardening tips and I have another blog post about choosing the right soil, I could link to that within my gardening tips article.
Perfect. It helps both the reader and search engines understand how your content connects.
Gotcha.
External links, on the other hand, point to other websites.
Okay.
This shows you've done your research, you're referencing credible sources, and it could even help build relationships with other websites in your niche.
So if I'm writing about healthy recipes, and I mentioned a study about the benefits of a certain ingredient, I could link to the original study on a university website, for example.
Exactly. It adds credibility
Right.
and provides further reading for those who want to dive deeper.
This is making SEO feel a lot less intimidating.
Good.
It's not just about tricks and algorithms. It's about creating content that's genuinely helpful and well-connected, both within my own website and to the wider web.
That's the key takeaway. And here's another thing to remember.
Okay.
SEO is an ongoing process.
Okay.
It's not about publishing a blog post and then forgetting about it.
Right.
You can continue to optimize it over time.
Yeah.
Updating information, adding new links, promoting it on social media.
So even after we hit publish, our work isn't done.
Nope.
We need to keep nurturing our content and helping it thrive in this huge digital landscape.
Exactly. And that brings us to, I think, the next stage of creating a blog post that really shines.
Okay.
Which is making it visually appealing.
Ooh, yes.
Because, let's face it, a wall of text, no matter how brilliantly written, can be pretty intimidating.
Oh, I've been there, even when I'm really interested in a topic.
Yeah.
If the formatting is clunky, I find myself skimming and missing key points.
Right.
So how do we make sure that our content is visually appealing and easy on the eyes? Okay, so we've talked about creating that killer content, making sure it's SEO friendly. But now it's time to really make our blog post visually appealing.
Yes.
Like we've baked this amazing cake, but now we need the frosting and all the decorations.
I love that analogy.
Visual appeal is so often overlooked, but it's crucial for keeping those readers engaged.
Totally. Think about it. You're way more likely to finish a meal that looks appetizing, right?
Absolutely. Presentation matters. So where do we start?
Well, one of the simplest yet most effective techniques, I think, is using headings and subheadings.
Oh, okay.
Remember how we talked about them helping with SEO? Well, they also break up those big chunks of text and make your post so much easier to scan and digest.
So instead of this wall of text, we're creating a hierarchy.
Exactly.
That guides the reader through the content.
Yeah, it's like creating signposts that highlight the key points and make that overall structure really clear.
Okay, signposts, got it. What else can we do to make our content visually appealing?
Bullet points and numbered lists are your best friends.
Yes.
Our brains love lists.
Thank you.
They're easier to process.
Right.
They're easier to remember than paragraphs of text.
Right.
Plus, they add those much-needed visual breaks.
Yeah, it's like giving the reader little bite-sized pieces of information instead of overwhelming them with this huge paragraph all at once.
Exactly, and don't underestimate the power of white space.
White space.
I know it sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But leaving some breathing room around your text and images actually makes your blog posts more visually appealing and less intimidating.
So it's not about cramming as much information as possible into every little inch of the page.
Not at all. White space gives your content room to breathe. It creates visual balance.
Okay.
Improves readability. Imagine visiting a website that's just jam-packed with text and images.
Oh, yeah.
You'd probably feel overwhelmed and click away pretty quickly.
I would for sure. Okay, so white space noted. Let's talk about images.
Yes.
I know they're super important for grabbing attention, especially online these days.
Right.
But are there any specific tips for using them effectively in blog posts?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, choose images that are relevant to your content.
Okay.
Don't just throw in some random stock photos for the sake of having visuals.
Yeah.
The images should really enhance your message, not distract from it.
So if I'm writing about, let's say, the benefits of yoga, I shouldn't use a generic stock photo of someone meditating on a mountaintop.
Yeah, that might not be the most effective choice.
Okay.
Instead, think about, what specific aspects of yoga you're highlighting in your post.
Right.
Maybe you're focusing on flexibility.
Yeah.
In that case, an image showcasing a challenging yoga pose might be a better fit.
Okay, so relevance is key. Got it. What else should we keep in mind?
Image size and placement are also really important. Huge, high-resolution images can slow down your website's loading speed,
Right.
which can be really frustrating for readers.
Yeah.
And it can also hurt your SEO.
So it's a balancing act between visual appeal and website performance.
Exactly. You want images that look great, but don't bog down your site.
Right.
And think about how you place your images within the text.
Yeah.
Do you want them to stand alone or be integrated with the text?
Right.
Experiment with different layouts. See what works best for you.
Okay, headings, list white space images. Anything else we can add to our visual toolbox?
Don't forget about multimedia.
Ooh, multimedia.
This could include videos, audio clips,
Oh.
infographics, quizzes, polls.
Those sound fun. How can we use multimedia effectively in blog posts?
Well, they add variety, break up the monotony of just text,
Yeah.
and they can even increase engagement.
Okay.
For example, if you're writing a tutorial, you could embed a video demonstrating the steps.
Right.
Or if you're presenting data and an infographic, and make it way more visually appealing and easier to understand.
I love how multimedia can really transform a static blog post into something that feels more dynamic and interactive.
Yeah.
It's like you're bringing the content to life.
Exactly. And the best part is there are so many tools and platforms available now that make it really easy to create and embed multimedia content, even if you're not a tech whiz.
That's awesome. This has been such an incredible deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much about crafting blog posts that are not only informative and SEO friendly, but also visually appealing and, downright fun to read.
Me too. And remember, the key is to really put these tips into practice and find what works best for you and your audience. Experiment, have fun, and let your creativity shine through.
And as always, we encourage you to explore the source material further for more in-depth guidance. There's a whole world of knowledge out there.
Absolutely. And don't forget to share your creations with the world.
Yes.
Let your unique voice shine through, and watch as your blog posts attract readers, spark conversations, and make a real impact.
So here's a challenge for you. What's one small step you can take today to make your next blog post more visually appealing? Maybe it's adding some bullet points or finding a relevant image or even just incorporating more white space.
Whatever it is, take that step. And until next time, keep learning, keep creating, and keep diving deep into the world of knowledge.
Happy writing, everyone.